Hello everyone. My name is Daniel. I am a part of the FI marketing team. I hope you're all having a great day. So welcome to another exciting event, right? And this time we're here with a topic that's pretty interesting, a speaker that we already know, right? Within like the FI network, right? So we're super excited about it. He'll be talking all about validating your startup idea with just Facebook ads and a landing page. Before I kind of get into it, uh, why don't you guys tell me where you're all coming in from? I can see that we have people from California, Michigan, awesome, Barcelona, right? Vancouver, amazing. Bristol in the UK, India, awesome. So we have a pretty international audience. And that's how things kind of go here at FI, right? We have people all across the world interested in learning more about building their startups, right? So back to the event, we have with us today Greg, who is a paid ad specialist. So it should be super exciting. Before I bring Greg on stage, let me just kind of explain the agenda and some ground rules here, right? Greg will do a presentation for 30 to 40 minutes, and then we'll go into a Q&A. If you have a question, you can let us know, and I'll bring the question on stage, and I can ask Greg directly for you. So if you look towards your right, right under the chat button, you should see a Q&A button. All you have to do is, if you have a question, click the Q&A button, type in your question, and we'll get it, right? And then once we move to the Q&A, I can bring that question up on stage, and then I'll ask Greg for you, right? Akshay, would you want to bring Greg on stage? Hi,
Hello,
Greg.
everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
What is up, guys? Wow, 127 people. Cool. Awesome. Pretty
Awesome.
popular.
And they're all here for you, right? So before we
Fantastic.
begin, Greg had a question in mind, and he wanted to know, have you ever done Facebook ads before? So let us know. You'll be seeing the poll on the screen. If you haven't, we'll kind of get an idea of where you stand, right? And this is kind of important for us to know. Awesome. So okay, so it seems like most of the audience hasn't uh, used Facebook ads before, right? So then this should be a pretty great way to start your journey, right? Awesome. So another kind of tidbit here is
Cool.
that if you love what Greg is saying, if you're enjoying everything, you should see an emoji button at the bottom of your screen. Give Greg some thumbs up, give him a heart, let him know how you're feeling. Awesome, you already see hearts. Amazing. So what I'll do is I'll move to the back and I'll let Greg take over. Greg, would you want to share your screen?
Yes, of course. But once again, hello and welcome to this session. So excited. I'm going to try my best to deliver some value for you today. And hopefully, everything you can take something out of this presentation. Please don't mind my little sheet here that I have hanging. That's for to kill the glare off the sun. Sometimes the camera zooms in a little bit closer, sometimes further, so I have no control over that. So okay, cool. Let's get going. Let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen. Again, if you have any questions, um, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A box, and then we'll take a look at it a little bit later. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna move you guys over here. That's my other monitor. And then let's get started. So just a quick thumbs up. Am I good with audio? Am I good with video? Everybody good? Yes, Danielle, can you hear me? Everything okay? I'm gonna assume that I am. Okay, cool. Sweet. All right. So, how to validate your idea with Facebook ads and landing pages. So, I think it's very important. I work with a lot of founders and a lot of people in the startup world that just kind of they have an idea, right? They think it's going to change the world, and then they go and they spend 6 months building it, right? And then when they're all excited and they're ready to launch, uh, it's crickets, right? And people are just not either not ready for the product, they don't want the product, or they're kind of just confused what the product is. So I wanted to, when my friend and FI coordinator Ahan asked me to speak, I wanted to see how could I bring my knowledge and give it to you guys without also overwhelming you. So that's kind of what I'd like to do today. So the three goals for today are: number one, I'm gonna talk about how to find your target audience on Facebook. So Facebook, as we know, or Meta now, is billions of people around the world, right? And hundreds of millions of people logging on in North America, right, monthly. So it's a massive, massive, massive market. So I've been running Facebook ads for 7 years now, and if you guys are not doing that, then if you're a founder, if you have a product or something, some kind of thing you want that's going to change the world for your customers, you definitely have to get on this train, especially now that it integrates Instagram, right? Now Threads just came out, WhatsApp, Messenger, like it's just, you can't ignore it anymore, right? If you haven't. So we're gonna target your. I'm gonna show you how to target your audience on Facebook, how to acquire your ideal customer as a lead first, right? If you can't get your target customer, your ideal customer, as a lead first, then how can you get them as a customer, right? It's very hard. So it's like, again, you have this product that's gonna change the world, right? Whatever it is, maybe it's a new AI tool, but if you can't first get somebody to sign up for something for free and give you their email, then it's going to be very hard to get them to buy that thing from you, right? So, and I'm going to show you how to open the conversation with that ideal target or prospect. But my bread and butter again is Facebook, so we're going to focus on Facebook ads today. So who am I? Very quickly, I'm just a guy that loves marketing, first and foremost, right? I'm based in Canada, Toronto, Canada. I've been doing Facebook ads since 2015. I had a course. I used to be a teacher actually in South Korea for 7 years. I was teaching ESL. And I'm like, hey, how can I package my knowledge and make a course for teachers, right? So I did that. And then I'm like, oh crap, now I have to market it, right? I have to know how to market it. Let me just check the chat if everything's okay. All right, cool. So how can I market it? So in 2015, I launched my first Facebook ad. Of course, it flopped, and then I kind of went from there. And I fell in love with marketing so much that it just like it made sense to go into marketing from then on, right? So far to date, I've managed $1.5 million in client ad spend and management on Google, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Reddit. I'm probably missing a few more platforms because there's so many. And I work with a lot of product owners and founders with ideas, and I help them validate and research their idea before they hit the market, right? Because the last thing you want to do is build it and then nobody comes, right? So some of the clients that I've had, these are mostly Canadian-based companies. Some of them are US as well. Securitize their digital token platform. It's very interesting. Blockchain, implementing outside of cryptocurrency. How can you put, for example, like real estate, house deeds on the blockchain? So I worked with Securitize. TrueShield is a massive, massive insurance giant platform that they offer in Canada, right? We have FI here. We have so a bunch of other ones that are mostly either startups or scale ups, right? Um, so that's what I was talking about earlier. If you build it, anybody seen that movie, Field of Dreams? Kevin Costner. It's a little bit older. It's an older movie. It's pretty famous. That famous quote from that movie, right? If you build it, they will come. So it's like you got to have faith that if you build your product, people will come. Well, guess what? Newsflash, they won't come. They won't come unless you kind of put yourself out there and you let people know about your product, right? So why not do that first before or while you're building out your product, right? I'm not saying to not build your product. I'm saying that if it's going to take you 6 months to go to market, why don't you just also, test the marketing aspect of it, and if you can actually attract people to your niche, to your product, to your kind of offering. So if you build it, they won't come unless you let people know. Okay, cool. So why validate with ads first? Why validate your idea with marketing? Now, there's several ways that people talk about validation. I mean, one way is to just to go in and speak to your target audience, right? I don't know, have a coffee with somebody that's your ideal customer, or get on the phone with somebody, or go to forums, right? But this is how I do it with ads. So I'm going to show you how and why you'd want to do it on with scale, right? Because with ads you can do it at scale. So you don't have to build in the dark, like I said, building for 6 months, not knowing whether people actually want your thing, right? You can gauge the market demand for your product quickly. Okay, if you're not getting any people to sign up for free for something that's related to your product, then something's wrong, right? Something's off. So maybe you can pivot quickly and kind of take that market feedback and adjust, right? So get that feedback and course correct. You can save time and money for your idea that is not quite there yet, right? I had the word bad before, but there's no such thing as bad idea. So I changed it to it's just not quite there yet, right? And finally, investors love to see traction. So if you're a founder trying to raise capital, right? If you got your seed round, your Series A or whatnot, investors love to see traction, and this is an easy win to demonstrate for VCs. Hey guys, I don't have a product yet. I just have an MVP, but we have 10,000 leads of people that are raring to go on the wait list when the product launches, right? So that's something that a lot of founders, I feel, are not doing. And kind of, again, like building in the dark and hoping for the best. Let's see some thumbs up in the chat if this makes sense, or some ones. Let's drop some ones or twos. Okay, cool. Awesome. Sweet. You guys are great. All right, a little water break. So that's why you want to validate with ads, right? So there's going to be several parts. There's actually going to be 3 parts to this, with part 2 being the most juiciest, the Facebook part. But first, I just want to touch briefly about landing pages. Okay, so what is a landing page? Well, landing page and sales funnel are usually synonymous, right? But if you really truly want the full definition, a sales funnel or marketing funnel can have several pages, with the landing page being the first one. For example, you could have a landing page, then a thank you page, then a sales page. So that's all part of the sales funnel. Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 examples of actually 3 brands and 4 examples of landing pages that I've built for clients before. These are all links I'm going to click. So let's hope this doesn't crash the presentation, and let's see how this opens up. Okay, cool. So yeah, here's the first lander for a company called Yamba, which is they're a food delivery company, but also they do meal prep. So they ready to go meals, they deliver to your door, right? So they wanted to build a product for a B2B side of there. So they got the B2C figured out to consumers, right? But they wanted to deliver food to actual companies and get companies on board. So here's a quick landing page that I helped them build out. They can go ahead and very easily, hey, company XYZ, do you want, delicious meals for your employees, to offer that as a meal perk? Go ahead, join the wait list. Okay, so and then we had them going straight to the person's Calendly. This is a little bit more advanced because it's a little more moving parts with the Calendly, right? Usually it's just like, hey, leave your email or a name, or email, name, and phone number, right? So if because we're going to a very specific kind of, just like the HR people, right? So we wanted to get meetings booked with them. Okay. Here's a second example for the same company, Yamba. So for example, in this case, we're gonna be like, hey, do you work for a company? Do you also use Yamba for yourself for home? Well, why don't you tell about us to your employer, and we'll give you a pair of Apple headphones. Now, of course, not everybody's gonna get that pair of headphones because they're expensive. But if that leads to a sale, like to an account, then that's possibly thousands of dollars in revenue for the food company, right? So a $600 referral kind of prize is a no-brainer, right? So here they can go in the same thing, and they can nominate their employer, and it's a little bit more advanced form, right? So here's an example. Here's another example for a company called Parity. They're a trading app, trading analysis app. So this is super duper straightforward. It's just like, hey, enter your email, right? Enter your email. It's a two-step funnel. Landing page here. Once they enter their email, they go to the following page. Thank you page. Thanks for entering. You're on the wait list, or you joined our thing. So this company, Parity, they had no product, right? This is before they even had the product. They asked us to come in. They asked me and to actually validate and test. And I'll show you upcoming results, how it looked like, right? So very, very super simple thing. Now, so it all depends what's your industry. What can you offer on this landing page, right? Can you offer a little video that you could teach them something? Can you offer a PDF, like a lead magnet, right? That's been done a lot, but how creative can you get with your thing that you can offer them, right, in exchange for their lead info, their email and name, right? And finally, here's a health company, health and wellness, in the States. They work with a cardiologist that helps people reverse their heart disease. So this gentleman right here, so he literally takes people from 500 pounds and brings them down to like a healthy size, right? That's like good for their health and everything. So they came to us and they're like, how can we make that into a digital component, into a digital program? So I help them do that with a landing page such as this. Okay, so that's a little bit about landing pages. There's thousands of landing page builders. I personally use something called ClickFunnels, right? But you can use Wix, you can use Lead Pages. I mean, there's so many. There's even ones that are basically free right now that you could Groove, if you want to write this one down. Groove Funnels. They're a free landing page builder. Okay, cool. So let's jump back in and some landing page tips that I have for you. So use simple landing pages if possible, like a two-step, like landing page and thank you page, right? It doesn't have to be super complicated. Offer something that the user actually wants, like a lead magnet, right? That either a PDF or a video teaching them something, right? If the final product is not ready, right, which usually that's why I'm teaching you this, offer to teach them something that's similar to the solution that the product will offer in the future. Okay, so I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but let's just make one right now. Like if your product makes it easier for real estate agents to have open house and bookings for leads, for house sellers, right? Maybe you can instead make a video teaching them how to attract house sellers, right? And if you see great demand in that will for that video, for that little masterclass, right, which is like just a 20-minute video, then that will be like, okay, I need to build this product because that demand is there and people actually want it, right? Now, look, I'm not saying that if you build it first and then you market it later and you kind of get that, put the elbow grease in, you're not going to do well. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's going to be so much easier if you already have an audience of customers that are waiting for your product to come out, right? So that's kind of how you want to do. And of course, you will want to split test your landing page, right? So different messaging, different images, different etc. things. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I don't want to spend too much time on this because I could teach this for 6 hours just on landing pages, and that's not. I want to get to the meat. Okay, meat and potatoes. So part 2, the Facebook ad. This is where it kind of the rubber meets the road, as they say, and this is where kind of I love this part the most. All right, so let's jump in. So we're gonna look at 4 examples. These 3 are already ones that you saw the landing pages for. So now how do they get to the landing page, right? Well, you need to show them some kind of ad, something on Facebook or on Instagram that they can see, and they can be like, okay, I'm interested in that. Let me click that ad and go to the landing page, right? So let me just open up some ads. So one second, bear with me, please. Okay, so let's start from the down and go up. So first, the ad for Uvukai, which is the health doctor reversing heart disease. So it's a very simple video ad that we created in Facebook. I hopped on a Zoom call with him and we recorded a very simple 30-second video. We recorded a bunch of them, right? And he's saying, "Hey guys, click learn more if you're tired of being overweight and you want to kind of figure out your heart age score." And there's a whole system how to figure it out. Is basically your cardiovascular risk, and we take them to a landing page which can uh, get that, get that heart score. The results were overwhelming. There were so many people trying to get this heart age score that it was insane. So that just showed him that, hey, people want this. Let's build it. Let's build. And in this case, it was a course, right? Like he wanted like a training program with a back end, with a kind of platform for hosting a course. Okay, next we have Yamba, which is the food kind of corporate catering. So these are some ads. I don't know why Facebook kind of made it really weird and chopped some parts of it, but here you could see some ads. So making the ad is not difficult, right? There's tons of free YouTube tutorials on how to make an ad. In 15 minutes you could create an ad. So today I'm not going to teach you like how to click buttons. I'm going to teach you the overall strategy behind it, right? So here's an ad again. It's like, hey, do you want to offer cool, delicious meals for your people that work in your company and be the rockstar HR hero? Well, click learn more and get on the wait list or book a call with us. Okay. Here's the one for the company that is this one, the trading analysis app. Parity. Okay, they're more crypto focused, but they do other things. So they just they want to build a new platform that gives news analysis, aggregates kind of info for crypto and stock traders and stuff like that. So here are some ads that you can see here. By the way, you're going to have a copy of this, so you can always you should be able to click this and open this and see for yourself. So I'm not going to spend too much time just so I could go through this. And finally, this is an interesting one. So they had an idea. They saw a gap in the market. They're called Lively, aka Lance. They saw a gap in the market for freelancers, right? That there's nobody offering freelancers benefits, health benefits like dental, days off, maternity leave, right? Because they're kind of on their own. So they wanted to make an app that offer and partner with massive insurance companies that could offer these benefits for freelancers. So here's an app. Here's an ad that we did for them, right? You can see the ad copy example. Again, I don't want to. I just want to show you kind of the snapshot and show you how it did. Funny, like it's so counterintuitive that long copy, writing a lot of text, very often does better than short copy. So something like this actually outperformed something like this with a short thing, like attention freelancers get more benefits, get more tools, right? So yeah, so again, you'll have access to this. You can take a look at what worked better, what didn't. So I'm just showing you examples of ads, okay? And usually in the ad, you put the thing that you're offering them. So if your landing page, the congruency is so important. On your landing page, if you're like, hey, guys, sign up for our newsletter, then the ad should say sign up for our newsletter. If the landing page says, hey, here's a free masterclass video on how to do XYZ, your ad should do that. So the person sees the ad, they're interested, they go to the landing page, they want the thing. There's like continuity and congruence, right? Based on that. All right, cool. So let's keep going. All right, so here's some sample results. Okay, so this first one is for Lively/Lance, the work benefits one. Okay, these guys, they had a budget of $10,000. Now, for some that's a lot. For some that's not a lot. Who am I to judge, right? But they had a goal to prove to their investors. They wanted proof of concept that they can attract leads, okay, and clients for their app. So they wanted to show some kind of traction to raise a round of investor capital, right? And this is what we wanted we did for them, right? So they spent $10,000. You can see it is here, and they got 1,900, almost 2,000 leads, right, at a cost of $5.24 per lead. $5 for those that don't do Facebook. That's a very good cost per lead on Facebook, right? It depends on industry. Again, some leads can be $10. It depends if you're a local business. It depends if you're insurance, $50 leads for life insurance, even $100. It depends. If you have a 10K mastermind product that you sell to these leads, then you'll pay $100 per lead, no brainer, right? So it all depends. So I can't say whether something is good or bad in absolute terms. It has to be in relative terms. Okay, so here's a very simple kind of snapshot of the ads manager, the Facebook ads manager dashboard, right? The most important thing I want you to see is, if we ignore this resource center, there's 3 tabs, okay? There's campaigns, there's ad sets, and ads. Think of it as a 3-layer onion, okay? The outer peel, that's your campaign. Inside, you have your ad set. I'm going to mention this word. I'm going to beat you to death with it today, ad set, or ad group, right? On Google, it's ad group. And inside that, you have the ad, okay? The ad set is where you do your targeting, right? And the ad group is where you have your creative. So if I were to click on this, and I'll show you later, once I'm out of this presentation, onto this campaign, on the next slide, you will see now I'm in the ad set tab, right? So inside of one single campaign, I had over 30 ad sets, and each ad set would have a specific targeting. So I can show you, right, how that works. So for example, again, we're targeting freelancers, or we're trying to find freelancers on Facebook, people that would want this app that provides benefits, right? So here's one audience with just people that are interested in freelancers. Okay, they have an interest. So somehow Facebook knows that they're interested in the term freelancer. Here's somebody that's interested in web design. Here's somebody that's interested in Adobe Illustrator, web developer, graphic designer, web development, Fiverr, where freelancers are, and Upwork. Okay, and it keeps going and going and going. And this is kind of the meat and potatoes of today. I want to show you how powerful these are, because, for example, if you want to target golfers, or freelancers, or AI enthusiasts, or crypto traders, you don't know exactly where they are, right? You just know they're on Facebook. But by creating these little audiences, okay, and targeting them, you could find exactly where your target audience is. Okay, so does that make sense? Is this not? I'm really hoping I'm not going too deep, like into like the ad ops of things. So again, it's just a campaign. It's a single campaign right here. If you click into it, or if you go to this tab, it's gonna have these different audiences. And the beauty of this is you could see how many leads they got, each one, right? How much they spent, how many leads they got, and the cost per lead, right? So remember, I showed you the cost per lead overall was $5.24. Well, some audiences brought a cost per lead that was even lower than that. Okay, like $3.55 per lead. So what do I do with that audience? Well, I'm gonna put more money into it, because I know that's a giver, right? It's where my people are. Same with all of these, actually, right? But I'll show you later. Below this are some audiences that are giving like $10 leads, right? I don't want those. Those are not my interest. Those are not like the match between my ad and my offer and the audience is not as good. Okay. So here's another example for Parity, for the Trader app, right? They spend 2,900, and again, you don't have to spend 10K off the bat. That's substantial. But like I said, these guys wanted to prove to their investors that they actually have a proof of concept. Okay, so here's these guys for parity. They spent 2,900, and their leads were a little more expensive, right? So almost $10, which is fine. That was their kind of their status quo. They also had uh, some audiences which were costing $15-20. We had to turn that off, right? So here, if we click into this one and we go into their ad sets, which is their targeting or their audiences, we can see that, for example, this one that has um, 14 leads at $3, right? 345 per lead was great, right? So we raised that. We all started them with $10, and then we started adding a little bit, adding, scaling these audiences, right? So something like Investment Club, right? Oh my God, $4.50 leads, right? So we kept going. Business and Finance, $5 leads. Digital Wallet. There was no crypto as an interest on Facebook or cryptocurrency that we could target. Okay, so I had to find these roundabout ways to target that audience, which is somebody interested in digital wallet, digital trends, business and finance. Gary Vaynerchuk, right, the proponent of crypto and NFTs. So you can see he's a little more expensive, right? Trading strategy. So as we get kind of a little more expensive, I start turning them off. Okay, turning off the ad sets. Does that make sense, everybody? Even for those that have never done Facebook, does that make sense? All right, some thumbs up. Cool. If it doesn't, give me a thumbs down or an angry face. Okay, cool. That makes sense. All right. And finally, for the heart, for the health doctor, I told you that like it's just because the health and wellness niche is it's so massive, right? Like maybe out of 10 people, 7 in North America will want to either get healthy or lose weight, right? Whereas how many out of 10 will be interested in crypto? Maybe half a person, right? Just statistics wise, or 1 person or 2 people. So you can see the cost per lead was just ridiculous, like 64 cents per lead, right? So he didn't have to spend 10K or 2K or even so. For $300, we could already see that he got 530 leads at 64 cents per lead that we could give him. Okay, cool. So right now I want to show you how to kind of build this list. Okay, how to build because I really think that if you learn that just seeing these stats, you're like, okay, cool, that's nice for him. Would be nice for me, but let me show you how to kind of brainstorm that, because I think that's where the power of this comes from. Okay, so here's your step 1. So you want to make an exhaustive list of interests that your ideal customers may have or follow, right? And exhaustive, I mean like just go nuts. So here's a quick framework that you could use. It's called the MCBW, okay, framework. I did not come up with this, but this is great. So magazines, celebrities, businesses, or websites, right? Magazines or publications in your niche that people may subscribe to or read. Celebrities or thought leaders that they may follow, like Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, right? Businesses, companies or brands, and websites, right? Or other publications. So let's take a look at this, how this looks in actual real life. Okay, so I'm going to share this document with you that you could actually take and you could fill this out. So what you could put, for example, you're targeting the AI niche, or you're targeting um, the SaaS, right? But even within SaaS, you have like niches and verticals, right? So, for example, financial, fintech, or accountants, you're trying to make their life easier. So, what magazines do they read? What do they subscribe to, right? What celebrities do they follow? What businesses or brands do they enjoy, and what websites kind of do they frequent? Okay, so here's a super duper simplified example for golf. Okay. I know probably none of you are building a product for golfers. You never know. Maybe somebody has a tool for golfers, but a lot of people like golf. So it would look something like this. So magazine, right? There's Golf Magazine, Golf Digest, Golf Week, Links, Golf World. Celebrity: Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Rory McIlroy. These are famous golfers, right? Businesses: Nike, TaylorMade, Callaway, Ping, Titleist, right? These are golf brands. Some you have to be a little more careful. Nike could be very general. There could be runners that like Nike. There could be yoga people that like Nike, but TaylorMade, these are specifically golf interests, right? And then websites could be something like PGA.com, right? PGA Tour, LPGA, Golf Digest. So this is a super duper simplified example for somebody that has golf as their vertical. Okay. Here's one for that we built for when I was doing the ads for the freelancers, right? So it's basically it didn't exactly follow this magazine MCBW kind of format, right? But we took a look at what are the websites that offer, because what do freelancers do, right? They're usually graphic designers, they're usually copywriters, they could be developers, but they probably use image websites like Pixabay or Shutterstock, right? They probably go to freelancer.com to get projects. They probably use Adobe, right? The Adobe suite. They probably you want to brainstorm this very, very, very broad kind of list of interests for your niche. Okay. How do they track their time? How do they do their proposals? So there's so many kind of things we could target, right, on Facebook. Here's one for the trading people for parody. Okay, so things like here on the right, like C++ language, like programmer language, right? Citibank. So because they're like cryptocurrency is like it's like developer meets financial analyst, right? That's the kind of intersect. So we try to find kind of things. So even though we couldn't target crypto specifically, we could target things that in a roundabout way, right? Things like online banking, search engine optimization, mortgage loan. So things that they could be potentially also interested in. Okay, so that's your step one that I want you to think about, to make that exhaustive list of interests. Just keep going. If it takes you 2 hours, just keep going and going, right? Following this framework. Then what you want to do for step two is you want to refine this list, because what happens is just because it's on your list doesn't mean that it's necessarily available on Facebook. Okay, and I want to show you how this kind of looks like really quickly. So let's say if I'm in my ads manager, right, and I have my just basic campaign that I set up, right, and I have my basic ad set that I have, right. If I click edit, so again, it's the 3 layers: campaign, ad set, and ad with your creative, right. Ad set is the targeting. You want to go into the ad set, click edit. Okay, I'm not gonna go every thing one by one. You can learn that in 10 minutes. That's not where, like, that's a tactics. What I want to give you is the strategy. Okay, and the strategy is, for example, if I'm targeting US and Canada here, right? So USA and Canada, North America, all ages, all genders. Again, you can come and edit. I want to come over here, and where it says detail targeting, this is where I want to plug in things. Okay, so for example, if cryptocurrency was on my list, right, but I type that in, it may or may not show up. Okay, so I think since I ran those ads, they have some new things regarding crypto, but it's employers or schools, not necessarily what I'm looking for, right? But if I'm, for example, following and I'm getting so for example, I want to target TaylorMade, which is a golf club. I'm gonna come over here, copy this, I'm gonna put this in, and I'm gonna type this in: TaylorMade golf. Okay, not employers. I want interests, sporting good. Perfect. Now keep your eye on this. This is this is my audience size. Okay. So right now on Facebook, open in North America, Canada and USA, there's 255 million people online right now. Okay, 255 million people. Now, as I put this, if I start playing around with this is going to go down because I'm restricting. Okay, so for example, if I want to go not 18 plus, 18-year-olds usually don't have money. Let's say I'm going to do 25 plus. You will see this is going to go down from 255 to 207. It already shrank, right? Because it's a smaller pool of people. But still, 200 million people is a massive, massive audience. You don't have enough budget to even, it's a drop in the bucket. But if so, you want to narrow this down. So I'm going to put in tailor-made, okay? And I'm going to choose this. So this 207 is going to drop down. And sometimes it goes below. See, it was so specific, it was below 1,000, right? So then I'm going to come over here and let's say I'm going to open this back up. And sometimes it's the placements. So yesterday I was playing around. So sometimes if you target Instagram or you don't, this can change. Usually you want all placements, right? Maybe that's a bad example. Let's put Titleist. Okay, so 49 million people. So that's a better example. So we went from 250 million, right, to 49 people. So then I would come over here, I would copy this, and in my list, okay, in my basic list of golf, I would kind of come over here and I would say, hey, Titleist has 49 million people. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to take this list, which is very, very broad and massive, and I want to refine it into a smaller list based on what Facebook is actually allowing me. Okay, because not everything is going to be on Facebook, right? So, for example, if we look back at these at the freelancers, right? The ones, right, like local solo, that the app didn't show up on Facebook, so we couldn't target it, right? Crop did not show up, so not everything on your list is going to show up. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense, everybody? All right, sweet. So you build your list, it's really big, and then you refine it based on what actually shows up on Facebook. So same with here, right? So I wanted to target for these traders. I wanted to try to target C++. That does not show up on Facebook, right? I wanted to target data mining or cryptocurrency. It just doesn't. It's not an interest on Facebook. Okay. And how does Facebook decide what's an interest, what's not? That's the world of Mark Zuckerberg. Now, how does it know if for example, if this person actually, if this 49 million people, that means there's a pool of people on Facebook that at some point either bought this golf club or they went to the website, they got cookied, they got pixeled, right? If you know what that means. And they're in this audience now. So Facebook has a pretty accurate kind of thing. Now, if I were to just put golf, okay, as a more broad interest, then this is going to be a much bigger audience, 63 million, right? And it's not going to be as precise, okay? So I could start with golf, but then I want to refine it by my kind of more specific things like magazines again, or books, celebrities or thought leaders. Somebody that's interested in Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson would be a better potential customer than somebody that likes golf in general. Somebody that likes Chat GPT would be a better customer for your AI app or solution than somebody that just likes AI in general, right? Does that make sense? And funny enough, I was looking at this yesterday. Chat GPT, doesn't matter how you spell it, just doesn't show up. That's what I mean by not showing up on Facebook. See, no results found. So some things are just not going to have you're not going to find, and then you have to kind of think of other ways. Now, I want to bring your attention to this suggestions Facebook very often has, once you type in one thing and it's there, like golf, you're going to see things that you didn't even think about. Golf course, okay, tennis, interesting. Maybe people that like golf also like tennis. Golf equipment, PGA Tour. So you're going to see things pop up that you didn't necessarily think about. So as you work on your list, right, then you're going to have this suggested. So very, very often I have this kind of, I have a massive suggested column that Facebook teaches me that also have, people that like golf, they also like lawn care, for example, right? So that's what I mean by step two. You want to refine this exhaustive list, okay? And that's kind of what I want you to. If you take away anything from this, it's kind of how to build this list and how to refine it by plugging it actually into Facebook. And you all have this, like you literally, if you go to facebook.com, and you don't have to spend money off the bat, right? Okay, that's weird. You can, over here on the left, you go to Ads Manager, you click on that, and it's just going to bring you to, you all have an ad account. You don't have to, if you don't know how to get to your business manager, it's a little more advanced. You can just go to Facebook on your left hand, facebook.com, or you could go to adsmanager.facebook.com. That's fine too. You all have this. Yours is probably blank. Just go create. Okay. And you can either choose traffic or leads. Traffic just means visitors, right? And you go continue. And that's literally, you're going to have a campaign. Inside that, you're going to have an ad set with your targeting. And then inside that, you're going to have the ad. And the ad is pretty straightforward. Just like, hey, put a picture, right? Put some text and a headline. That's it, right? So I don't want you to get hung up on the fact that, oh, I don't know how to make an ad. I don't have to. If you're building a list of your audience targeting, you literally don't need anything else. You just go to your account, you create, and it's a dummy campaign. It's not like, you're not going to launch it, right? You don't have to click review and publish, right? Until I hit review and publish, it's not launched, right? So I just want to come here and see my targeting. I want to see these numbers. I want to make a note. Okay. So then the next step would be to step 3 would be to organize your list even further, okay, of already your confirmed interests that are on Facebook, right, from your massive pool, into kind of ad sets, okay, into your ad groups. So the best way to show you would be to, for example, so I started with a very broad list of all the things that freelancers like or interested in. Then I refined it by my size. Okay, does this make sense? So, for example, people that like freelancer or are a freelancer, there's 230,000 of them in North America. People that like freelancers.com, there's only 6,600. There's some very tiny ad sets or ad groups that are less than 1,000. Probably I'll group these together. There's some really much bigger ones that are like almost 1 million, right? It's fine if your audience is a couple million. That's totally fine. So it all depends. I like to mix it up. I like to have very different audiences, right? So you could see, so I refine this list. Again, you're going to have access to this. So you can make a copy. You can come over here, make a copy, and then you'll have this. So I like to start very broad, right? And then I like to refine it if it's actually on Facebook, if I can find it on Facebook. And then I like to put the size of the audience, how many people, right? And then step 3 is to actually to plan out my ad sets, okay? So I want to have, so here's an example, right, of a single campaign, right, with a single ad set with a single ad, okay? That's kind of your initial thing that you launch, okay? Then I want to have more ad sets. I want to duplicate these out, just like I showed you here, okay? So for example, I had freelancer web design, right? So you start with one and then you duplicate them out and you have many. So you could have like 30 or 50 ad sets, right? And I'm trying to see which ones of these can I get a better cost per lead for, right? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to identify the winning ad sets. And by ad sets, I mean your audiences. And I'm trying to kill the losers, basically, right? Find the winners, kill the losers. That's the name of the game. All right. So step 3, I'm going to organize it into ad sets like this, right? So for example, 230,000, that could be on its own, right? That could be its own little ad set, little audience. 660, 6600, that could be on its own. This one, it's so small and they're so related because you have to think thematically too, right? Union, marketplace. So I can put them in a single ad set, right? So I can combine them into one audience, right? Well, where this one is just going to be on its own. So for example, when I mean on its own, it can be something like for example, I have Callaway, right? Callaway Golf. Okay, I don't want employers. Okay, so see when it's too small, it shows you don't want necessarily too small. So I'm going to take out employers. So that could be an ad set on its own. It's big enough, so that's fine, right? Or if it's very small, I can add things to it. So for example, I can add another interest to it, right? So I can combine them. There's no limit to how many you can have in a single ad set, right? You could have 1 or you could have 20. Usually the whole point of this is to see which ones are successful. So if they're big enough audiences, I like to separate them. That's kind of my thing. So you can see this is going to be on its own, this is going to be on its own, this is going to be on its own, this one's going to be combined into one single one, right? Because they're so small. 9, 10 is going to be on its own. Definitely PayPal, it's its own interest, right? Then once we get to these ones, they're so small, I'm going to combine them into a single audience, into a single ad set. Okay, so does that make sense? So then once I have my confirmed interests and I have I mapped it out tentatively by size and thematically, then I can see how many do I want to launch. So for example, in this case, I had enough to launch 33 ad sets. Okay, 33 ad sets. So that's what we did. I launched a single one and then I duplicated into 30 ad sets. Let me know if that makes sense real quick, because I think I'm getting a little too deep, too advanced. Okay, sweet. Thank you. So yeah. Now step 4 is going to be to launch your initial campaign. Okay. And when you launch your initial campaign, you're going to have one campaign with one ad set and one ad, just like I have for golf here. Okay. You can see it, the same thing. One campaign, one ad set, one ad. Okay. One campaign, one ad set with one ad. Okay. You're going to launch it. You're going to, once you fill out all the fields that you need, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to click review and publish. Okay. And then it's going to show, instead of in draft, it's going to show processing, and then it's going to be in review. Sometimes it takes 24 hours to be in review. Okay. And sometimes your ad will get rejected. Dun, dun, dun. Facebook said no. Somewhere you violated a policy. For example, when we did health ads, if you show a before and after, that's a no-no. They will just, and that's fine. You can change, they'll tell you why, you can change it, you can relaunch it, right? So that's why you don't want to launch it to 50 ad sets, because you have 50 disapprovals. That affects you negatively. They can ban your whole ad account. So you want to launch one single one, okay? And your budget can be $10 to $20, right? At the ad set level, you can choose your budget right here. So for example, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say $10, okay? And then I'm going to let Facebook approve it. Once it's approved, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and then I'm going to hit duplicate. Okay. I'm going to hit duplicate. All right. And then I'm going to have a second one, a second ad set. And then the first one, for example, can be Callaway golf clubs, right? And the second ad set can be people that like Tiger Woods, right? So as I am going down this list, right? Remember, we were building this list, right? So ad set 1 is this, ad set 2, ad set 3, ad set 4. It's going to be the same thing in your dashboard. You're going to have ad set 1, Tiger Woods, let's say Callaway, ad set 2, Tiger Woods. And each one of these is going to have your ad in it. So if I click into this, Tiger Woods has this ad. It's the same ad, right? So at this point, I'm not testing my ad. I'm just testing my audience. So I'm going to have 30, 40, 50 ad sets, which are your audiences, with the same ad in it, right? If I deselect this, you're going to see one campaign now that I have, right? I'm going to click into it with 2 audiences or ad sets, and then 2 ads, one belonging to one belonging to another. Does that make sense? Okay. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay. So when, for example, we did, all right, for the crypto traders, right? So here's their campaign. You can have more than one campaign, that's fine. And in this campaign, right, when we click into it, these are all the different ad sets that they had, okay? All the different audiences. And inside each one, we had the same ad going into that, right? So I'm in the ads here, right? And how do we do it? Well, we had a pretty general kind of list. Then I had a more, I cross-checked them on Facebook. I saw the sizes, right? And then I kind of went down, and I kind of saw what's my size of my audiences, and how many ad sets do I actually want to have. Okay. And it's fine if you have 10, if it's fine if you have 20, if it's fine if you have 30, it's fine if you have 40. Once you get to fit, like, one thing that you have to be careful of, it's $10 per, you're paying Facebook per audience. Okay. Per audience. So once you have your one single ad set and you duplicate it out, for example, you want to have 50 audience, you want to test 50 audiences, right? So I'm going to have 50 ad sets. I'm going to be paying $10 per day times 50, right? So it's going to be 500 per day. That can add up pretty quickly, right? So for example, where am I here? On any given day. So for example, on this one, we were paying $10 per day, $10 per day, $10 per day, $40 per day because the cost per lead was good. $20, $50. So it's per audience. You're paying Facebook per audience. But here's the magic. Here's what happens. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself. So again, step 4, you launch a single ad set audience. Step 5, you duplicate it as many times as you have ad sets here on your list, right? And then, so you have your one campaign like this with your 20, 30, 40 ad sets. And then you leave it alone. Step 6 is you leave it alone and you let all of them spend for about 48 to 72 hours. 48 to 72 hours. Okay. And again, you're going to be spending. So, for example, if you have maybe $20 is too much for this initial one, unless you have like only 10 audiences. So if you have like 30 audiences, just do $10. Okay. Then you'll be spending 300 per day total. Okay. You'll be spending 300 per day total. You leave it alone for 48, 72 hours. You don't touch it. Okay. You just make sure that it's running. And then in step 7, this is where the magic happens. You start to optimize. Okay. You start, all of a sudden, you turn off the ones that are not performing well, right? And you can add more budget to the ones that are. Okay. Again, you turn off the ones that are not doing well and you add budget to the ones that are. So you won't be spending so this initial 300 that you'll be spending, or whatever, 500, it's only for the first 48 to 72 hours when you have all of them, right? Then you come in to it, you come into it and you see, okay, so here's basically my whole thing. I come into the campaign, right, which is here. Okay. I see that this ad set, this audience, right, this specific one, I'm getting $3.45 leads. I'm going to keep it on. I'm going to maybe add more budget. Okay. This one, I'm going to keep it on. I'm going to keep it on. I'm going to keep it on. Oh my God. What's happening? This one, I only got 3 leads at $20.65. So guess what? South by Southwest just was not a good audience for my product. That's how I identified that what was good, what was not good. Okay. So I paid $60 to learn that I probably will never target this audience ever again for my specific product. Okay. So I'm going to turn it off. This one, $16, I'm going to turn it off. So what you want to have is kind of like, once you launch this, an idea in mind. What is kind of a good cost per lead for me? If it's $10, right? Anything below it, I keep. Anything above it, I reject, right? Without any emotion, without any kind of feeling bad for it. But I thought TechCrunch was going to do so well. Well, it didn't, right? So turn it off, right? Does that make sense, people? Can I get a hell yeah? Sweet. All the thumbs up and hearts. Thank you guys. So I'm so sorry it got a little bit technical. That's as technical as it will ever get. I promise. Okay. Today. So again, I'm launching. I had this massive list of things. I checked what's actually available on Facebook and I can target in my vertical what Facebook allows me. I build a list. I created my single ad set. I launched it with my ad in it. Then I just came in here and I duplicated. Once you launch, you can click duplicate and you don't have to go one by one. You can just say, hey, I have literally, okay, how many do I have? I have 44 things I want to test. Let's just say, right? Then I come over here and I say, hey, create me 44 copies of that thing. And you just come in and you change instead of Gary Vaynerchuk, you put Tony Robbins. Instead of Tony Robbins, you put whatever interest you're looking for. Okay. So and then you just come in, and then what happens is by the end, by like day 7, day 8, or day 10, you'll see that you'll just have a bunch of like look at this. How many did I have? 44 out of 44 that I initially started with. And some didn't. Like some spent 25. If you have like, if it's spent $10, $20 and it gets 0 leads, right? Then why would I ever keep it? I will shut it off after like 2 days. So it's good to start, I guess, with $10 or even 5. 5 can just take a little longer for you to get your learnings, right? So if it's not getting leads, I'm just going to turn it off. If it's getting leads above my KPI threshold, whatever it is I set for myself, right? Again, some industries is $5 per lead, some is 20, some is 100. You'll never know until you launch, right? So that's why you leave everything for 3 days. You don't touch, right? Or 2, 3 days. And then you start turning on. First, you turn off everything that didn't give you any leads. Then you turn off everything that's above your KPI. And then you only keep the ones that are, see these ones that are like killing it. And what you do is instead of $10, you come over here and you set this to, let's just say, $20, right? I'll just do this now, for example, right? And then you leave that for 2 more days, okay? And then after 2 days, you're like, well, that didn't perform that well. Maybe I'll bring it back to $10, okay? Or that performed so amazing, instead of 20, I'll bump it up to 50. You want to be a little bit careful. You don't want to go too aggressive, right? So maybe from 10 to 20, from 20 to 40, from 40, let's say, to 60, or somewhere kind of more like by half. By 1.5 is what you want to scale it. And then towards the end of it, you'll just be rare. Like I've had some instances where I have just the 1 or 2 ad sets, like just killing it at amazing lead cost and amazing volume. So for example, like you could see here, for freelancers, right? We started off with, I think, 30 or more, close to 40 ad sets, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is the ones that we kept. Okay. I don't have these numbers in the ads manager, so I always show you. So I only have this on the slide. So you could see it. So the ones that anything above $5, I started shutting off. Look how much I scaled. They all started at $10. That's the thing. And then I went to 20 for a few days. And then I went to 40. And then I went to, it's very quickly adds up, 80, 160, 320, right? And then 625. So this is like after 2 weeks, and it's still held up. It's crazy. This is per day, right? Per day. It's spending $600 per day, and it's still holding up these leads. Now, what if you had a product on the back end of this, or a course or something that you knew that as long as you were getting $5 leads, and your conversion rate was like, let's say, 25%, so 4 people out of 10 would buy your product, and you would be break even or revenue positive, man, you could scale this to 3,000 per day, right? As long as it just makes sense. These guys, again, they had 10K to blow on testing. They're like, hey, give us proof of concept, get us an audience, and then we want to present this to investors. So we just went nuts. But if you had something to sell on the back end, you could keep doing this perpetually. This is how people make money with like courses and memberships and products. Is just like your ad spend is less than your money out to Facebook is less than or equal to the money in from your revenue, right? But you'll never know what's gonna bring you. How did I ever know that web design as a group, as an audience, would have just such stellar? I would never know. That's the thing, until you test it the way I showed you, which is making that list, refining it, and then launching it, and then keeping the winners, right? That's the scaling kind of. Yeah. um, that's how I kind of see that. And then you can go to the moon from there, right? And then and then cool things happen. Like people will be like, oh man, I wish I had this feature to like, that's awesome, but I wish I had that feature. And you're like, oh crap, I should add that feature to my product, right? As you're building your product, right? Whereas if you don't do this, you eventually will have to learn the hard way if you can attract people. Okay, cool. So this is like the meat and potatoes of this. So uh, step 7, you optimize. And optimize simply means you turn off the ones that are not working, right? Like these guys, Gary Vaynerchuk. I really wanted him to give me leads under $5, but he didn't, so I turned him off. Right? Twitter or Jack Dorsey or something, right? But surprisingly, digital trend like investment club, uh, got great leads under $5. So you build your list, you cross check on Facebook, you launch a single one, you duplicate it, and then you optimize. You turn off the losers, and you scale the winners, right? So increase the daily budget on the ad sets with low cost per lead, right? Low cost per lead. That's and people ask, what KPIs do you look at? What do you look at? Do you look at like I don't know, cost per click? Yeah, sure, I look at cost per click. That's important, right? But look at this, like $6 cost per click and $6 cost per lead. So sometimes you have that. You have a high cost per click, and so I don't let that cloud my judgment, right? As long as I'm getting leads, this is what's most important. Result, the leads, right? My objective was leads. Here's the leads. Here's the cost per lead, right? As long as that's within my threshold, it's go time, right? Frequency, link clicks, of course. These kind of things is when you're not getting your results, which is your leads, right? You look at secondary things like cost, CPC, click-through rate, how popular it is, frequency, right? That's when things are not working. You're like, okay, well, what's broken? But if these two things, like your number of leads and cost per lead, will tell you all the info, most of the info that you need, right? So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so step 8 is repeat that daily, right? Repeat that daily. Just see what kind of things, what's not working. So kill the losers, scale the winners, right? Or keep the winners at whatever it is. Keep them turned on, right? So that's the whole system. So again, it's build a massive list of people that in your audience that follow kind of the things that the thought leaders, the magazines, the businesses, the brands, what was the last one? The websites, right? In your then cross check on Facebook. Does it actually show up? Like Chat GPT, you saw I typed it in, didn't show up. Number 3 is you launch a single campaign with a single ad set with a single ad in it, and then you just duplicate that as many times as you have audiences. You let that run for a couple of days, and then you kill everything that's wrong, and you scale everything that's right. And that's a quick way to actually get feedback from your from your thing. Part 3, this is going to be super quick. I'm almost done, I promise. This is the follow-up, and this is where a lot of people fall short. So for example, one of the companies that we were doing this for, they got all these leads, but then they just sat there and they did nothing. After 2 weeks, after a month, after 2 months, the leads won't remember what they entered their email to do, or what they. So it's so important not to burn your money on ads just for the sake of getting those leads, unless again you're just showing the investors that's what they wanted to do, right? That, hey, I got a list of leads, people want my kind of something that I'm offering. So but why waste them? So I would say don't let your leads go cold. Engage with your leads, right? Email, phone number, Zoom. Create a survey, right? What are you struggling with in AI, for example? Like, what would you like? What kind of feature would you like? What kind of thing? This is like, you can do that, right? Offer, hey, if you hop on a Zoom call with me, I'll give you $10 Amazon gift card or $20 Amazon gift card, and do that with 5 people that are really, really your target audience, right? Really, the people that you want, or go for coffee with them or lunch with them if it's in actually physically, right? Um, so this is a good one. This is a great one, because a lot of times you don't have a product, right? Because it's an actual SaaS that will take you 6 months. You don't have an MVP even, right? Because that may take 2 months. But can you offer to teach somebody something that your product will solve in the future, right? Can you offer to teach them how to do it manually with a simple video, right? And that thing you can give on your landing page and with your ad, right? So if it's a big enough problem, if it's a big enough itch that you offer to scratch to your target audience, to your niche or vertical, people will want that. People will request that, right? People all the time. I'm like, when I see ads for marketing or like how to test your Facebook ads, I'm like, interesting. Let me put my email for that. It's usually like a free video, and then they try to upsell me to their course, right? And if it's a good enough free video, then maybe I'll buy it, right? But maybe you don't have to sell something, but you can teach them something for free. And then once your product comes out, that's what they want, and kind of follow up with them, right? So another thing is read your Facebook ad comments once you launch the ads. People will comment. Like, a lot of times it's like, this is bull crap, and you can be like, okay, you can ignore that, but once in a while you get a comment like, this is interesting, have you guys seen another competitor that does exactly the same thing, but they do this? And you're like, oh wow, interesting. That's a little bit of learning that I got from this. It's not just the leads, it's the comments as well, and they will come. People comment on ads a lot. And then if you want to join Facebook groups in your niche and engage there as well, kind of build up your own thought leadership, that's kind of like another way to go. That's an organic way, whereas ads is like paid, but it's just like quick, and this is like a slow organic way. So depending how much time you have. But I would say, as a bonus tip with follow up with your leads, create your own Facebook group, right? And kind of funnel your leads there. So let's say you have an ad, you have giving something away for free, you have a landing page where they can put in their info, and then on the thank you page, like, thanks, we got your email, we'll be in touch. Meanwhile, join our group on Facebook, and have a little button in their group. And the Facebook is your community. Your group, you can give them free insight, you can give them free value, and you can pitch to them, and you can be like, hey guys, products launching in less than a month, who wants it, who's on the list? And you'll see people be like, me, and that's kind of like, people make thousands from groups, right? If it's done right. Okay, cool. So in the beginning, I showed you the meme saying, if you build it, they won't come. But in this case, at the end, I'm showing you, if you market it, they will come. I've seen literally people with garbage products, absolute garbage, but great marketing, do really, really well. Okay. Conversely, also people with a great product and poor marketing will also do well. That can happen. But like, I would say, really don't negate your marketing and leave it till the end, until you're all built, and then you launch to crickets and people don't necessarily want your thing. And then you later find out, oh crap, I could have, if I only knew this 6 months ago. Okay. So I want to save you those 6 months of pain and suffering. All right. So that concludes my presentation. Wow. I went long. I was supposed to do a half hour, but It's just I kept going. So I hope it was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to contact me, please go ahead and email me at greg@clientdrive.net. If you want to get in touch about something Facebook ads related. I can't guarantee I'm going to reply to everybody, but at least you have a way to contact me. So awesome, Danielle. I'm good. If you want to do some Q&A, if people have some questions, then I am
Yeah, awesome,
more like
awesome. That was honestly incredible. And I think you noticed that we're kind of over with time, like a solid 25 minutes. But like there was such great content, and we still have over 200 people live.
respect.
So yeah, I felt like it would be completely unfair to cut you off. So yeah,
Thank you.
awesome content. Guys, show Greg some love. I know you're already doing that. Let him know how you feel with the emojis. There you go.
If you only knew how much I sweated during this, but it's worth it. It's totally worth
Awesome.
it.
And we have a ton of questions. The thing is, you've answered a lot of them throughout your talk. So what I want to do, because we also have the networking portion and we're like really over time, I kind of only want to take one question here, right? And this kind of tends to come up often. And I'm going to reframe it a little as well, Greg. Uh, so the question is, can Facebook reach corporate customers? A lot of people, they tend to sway towards LinkedIn,
Mhm.
right? So what's your take on this?
That's an awesome question, and I'm looking at the Q&A as well, guys. And there's a similar question echoing throughout, and I want to kill all birds with one stone. So somebody's also asking, Facebook isn't a big platform with Gen Zs and other demos. How do you address this? Perfect. You're asking how do you do corporate and whatever. So this method of testing and scaling that I showed you today, you can apply to other platforms. So literally, if you go to TikTok ads, they literally ripped the Facebook ads dashboard one for one. Like it's literally campaign tab, ad set tab, or ad group, sometimes they call ad tab. You literally do the same thing. You identify your list, you make a massive list of your interests that you want to target. You cross check it with TikTok if it exists. You kind of write down how many people, and then you build your thing, and then you launch one. So it works for pretty much. That's a great question, because I never thought about it in terms of it works for TikTok. It's great with TikTok. However, you want to be careful. Okay, so with different platforms, the testing and the targeting works, right, which was the meat of today, but the creative is different. So for TikTok, you want to be aware of your creative, right? Just that image or that kind of ad. People don't want an ad necessarily. They want UGC, right? They want a cute female or male in their mid to low 20s holding a pair of jeans and being like, that's or I'm just saying, like, it's a different demographic, it's a different creative, but it's not a different way to target and test. And for B2B, you can do the same thing on LinkedIn, right? Because I've done like LinkedIn in that way. It's the same way. Just be careful. LinkedIn is more expensive. You're not going to necessarily get $5 leads. LinkedIn is more like $20 leads. So it's gonna run you a little more, I would say, unless your product is. If you have a fantastic offer, right, which is offers something that you give in the ad, like you're like, hey, get my course, get my product, get my thing, then your costs will be lower. So I hope that I answered a bunch of questions with that.
Awesome. Yeah. We had that, like you said, we had that question echoing all throughout the chat in the Q&A as well. Thank you for that. And I think we'll kind of close out the event and then we'll move towards the networking. Greg?
Can I take more questions? Because I see a lot of questions. Can I, unless it's a
Okay.
time thing.
Okay. So here's the thing, guys. If you want Greg to take a couple more questions, give us thumbs up, give us hearts, let us know.
I want to do like a rapid fire. I'm just gonna go down the list and just rapid fire.
Awesome.
Not long,
Do you want to
not
pick out
long
the
explanation.
questions, or should I do it for you?
No, I'll pick out the questions. Should I share my screen though, or is that gonna be a weird? That's gonna be a weird mirror thing, right? If I
Yeah, it'll be
okay,
why don't you just read them out? Yeah.
Okay, sure. What numbers would you have to reach to consider your idea validated? For example, what CTR? So they're asking about ad numbers like cost per click, click through rate. Again, I look at cost per lead, and if that's healthy, I just the rest basically doesn't bother me unless that thing is broke, the cost per lead is broken. Or if it's a purchase, it depends what I'm optimizing for. If it's a lead, which is usual, then it's cost per lead. If it's a purchase, for example, if it's a clothing store, or right, so I'm going for purchase straight. I'm not collecting any e-com, it's straight to purchase. It's not necessarily to lead, right? So then I'm looking as my cost per purchase. For example, if it costs me, right, X amount to fulfill the shirt, and my cost should be half of that because to be in my margins. Okay. About platforms, I addressed that. Can you explain the product potential? So they're like, somebody's asking, how can you explain your product potential to customers if you don't have any screenshots or photos of your finished product? So again, so that's maybe an issue a lot of people are facing. I don't have a finished product. I don't have a thing. What do I do? So again, can you do something peripheral? Can you teach them a thing that your product is going to solve? Can you solve a similar problem that they have with something, a PDF? Again, PDFs are like, you can do it, but they're just been done to death, right? So I always say, if you can do a PDF, do a video, quick video, a masterclass. Masterclass is just if you have a course, you have a little video, like a 20-minute, and you can create that quickly. Okay, can Facebook reach corporate customers? Yes. So corporate is best LinkedIn with the same ideas, but Facebook definitely. All the corporate are on Facebook. So when I showed you the B2B for the food guys, the ones that gave AirPods, we did on Facebook, right? So it's just like, what can you target? Like in Facebook, you can also. So I showed you like making a list of interests, but you can also have job titles. It's not as good as LinkedIn, but you also have job titles on Facebook. So HR, people's blah blah blah. Like on LinkedIn, you can really drill down into that, like the job categories. So try both, but Facebook you can to a certain extent do B2B, but LinkedIn is just like a little more expensive, but you can really get granular. From this first potential customers, what are average conversion numbers? So somebody's asking about conversion numbers. Again, that's product to product. I understand this will vary between different audience. Potential customers, again, this is a lot for people that don't actually have their product yet, right? They're trying to validate. So you're asking for customer conversion that doesn't exist yet. Lead conversion, that all depends. I mean, if you can get 25% of clicks to convert to a lead, that's great. If you get 15, 16, that's good. If you're 10, that's average, that's like okay. If it's like 7%, you're struggling, so you have to change your messaging. Is Facebook suitable for B2B? Yes, it is. You just have to kind of get a little more creative. Just like for our, so I had a client, they're like, hey, we want a cryptocurrency analysis app. Target crypto people on Facebook, and crypto was not even a thing on Facebook, interest on Facebook, right? That it didn't exist. So we targeted people that do trading, people that do forex, people. So you have to think about roundabout ways. So when you create those lists, right, of these customers, and when you go to suggest and you plug them in one by one, it's a tedious thing. It will take you a day, but it's worth it. I promise you. And then the suggestions on Facebook, you're like, oh crap, well, wow, like digital wallet. Whoever thought that digital wallet is a thing? I don't even consider that as an interest, right? All right, let's keep going. Right size for audience to target. So it's really right. That's a great question. What is the right size? There is no right size, right? If you have an audience of 10K people that are 10,000 people, which is very small, hyper targeted, your lead cost will be higher, but at least they will, you know, they're like, if you know they're all CEOs of the companies that you want to target, then try it, right? If you have an audience that's 50 million, I mean, that's pretty big. You have to understand, when you have a massive audience, like over 10 million, let's just say, and your budget is $10 per day, you're literally like, it's like, I don't know, exhaling a puff of smoke into a hurricane. Like, it's just not gonna, you're gonna scatter that. I'm gonna copyright that puff of into hurricane. You heard it here first, folks. You're just scattering your thing into an audience that may have only a little bit of the target people. Just understand that any audience will have like only a small part of the people that really want your stuff, and you're trying to identify them through these audiences, right? That really, you're 1,000. There's this quote saying, if you have 1,000 buyers, perfect buyers, you never go hungry, or something like that, right? Your 1,000 true fans for life that want your thing. So you're trying to find those people, that group of people, through these audiences. So if your audience is just too massive, like open, all right, open demographic, male, female, which you should test, by the way. I always test. One of the 30 ad sets is an open demographic, means male, female, 18 to 65, no detail targeting, right? Because I can let Facebook optimize and see if it performs better. So there is no right or wrong audience size. It's just what kind of makes sense in that specific one. But the bigger you don't want too small or too necessarily too big. I would say don't go, if it's under 10,000, bundle it with something else, with another audience. So here's your answer. If you want something more specific, if it's under 10,000 people, bundle it with another audience. And if it's massive, just don't try it, test it, but don't think it's gonna be like the best. I like to I love like 5 million, like 1 to 5 million people audience. How are we doing? Should we keep going,
Greg,
or should we?
yeah. So let's do this, right? Let's take. So I see this really good question in the audience, and it's like right at the bottom. So I just want to take that one last
Say it.
question, and then we can
Okay,
wrap it up. How about?
hit me.
Okay, so I'll bring it on stage, right? So Jack asked, are some target audiences cheaper than others? Should you worry about finding a cheaper audience to validate your idea for higher impressions if you don't have a lot of budget?
That's a that's a great question. It's really multi-layered. So with this process, what you're trying to do is you're trying to identify the. It's okay. You can keep the question. Keep it on.
Sure.
You're trying to identify the cheapest, basically the cheapest audiences. And what the cheapest audience is, why you want the cheapest audience is, there's several reasons why. And it's because first of all, you're gonna get more bang for your buck, right? If you have $100 to spend and you get only 10 leads, versus if you have $10 per lead, or if you get $1 leads, you get 100 leads for that. So your ad budget will go longer, you'll get more learning, more people, right? That also means that the people want in that audience want your thing more. It's kind of like, that's Facebook's way of telling you a cheaper cost per lead, a cheaper cost per purchase, an audience means there's more raving fans in that audience. That means your message, your ad is going to resonate more with them. They will want your thing, and it will be healthier for you in the end. There's also a thing called ad fatigue. So for example, some ads you can run for years and keep that steady $5 per lead and leads daily, but some will die off within 2 weeks or a month, and costs will go up. That just means one of the reasons could be you've cycled through your audience already. Facebook has showed your ad to as many people as it could in that audience. Let's say, especially if it's a small audience, like 100,000 people, and just people don't want your thing anymore, right? So your costs are going up. So cheaper cost per lead, cheaper cost per purchase, or per click is another way to show you that your thing is, people want your thing and your ad is healthy. Now, if people don't want your thing anymore and your thing is getting more, it just means that you just have to regroup and different angle. It's not that they don't want your product. It's just your messaging can be improved. Your maybe from ad to landing page could be improved. Their journey can be improved. What you say on the land, how you say your offer, right? Because that's very important, the offer in your ad, whether it's a course, a PDF, or whatever. So yeah, cheaper is better, 100% in all respects. Should you order cheaper? Yeah. And then when you actually have your product to sell, and let's say you learn that these are your 10 best audiences, right? You could repeat the exercise again, right? Or you could just, in the beginning, go for those audiences right off the bat, which were the winners when you did a couple months ago when you were testing lead for lead testing. And then most likely those audiences will also want to buy your thing and give you a cheaper cost per purchase as well when you have your product to sell to them, and it will be more engaged customers and repeat customers. So that kind of signals a lot of things. So yeah, that's a great question.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Greg. I want to be mindful of everybody's time here, but like honestly, we could probably keep going on for like another 6 hours, maybe, right?
I
But
could do a whole thing about landing. I really skimmed over landing pages and the follow up. That could be a whole other section. But I wanted, if I could choose one thing, that
yeah,
would be the Facebook, the targeting.
awesome. So folks, if you want Greg to come back, maybe talk about landing pages. Greg, if the audience is up for it, we're always up for it, right?
Woo!
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Greg, for taking out the time to be here. Thank you to everybody in the audience for staying along with us. Greg, any
Thank you
final
guys.
words?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the warmth. Thank you guys making it better for me. So is there any networking or?
Yeah, so what will happen now is uh, we'll all go off stage and then everyone will be transported into the networking lounge where you guys can join a table. Greg, if you can maybe stay and
Yeah,
talk to some of the audience. Awesome, Greg will be there too, and
I'll
DFI
be
team will
there.
be
I'll just
there
take a
as
2 minute
well.
2 minute break and then I'll be there.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you in the next one.
Cool. Thanks, guys.